Hey guys, my name is Aylad, and if you're just seeing this pop up on your YouTube subscription page, you're probably wondering, who is this guy and how did he get me subscribed to him? And the answer to that question is you probably subscribed to me years ago, but I've been out of the hobby for a long time, and I never posted that much content on this channel anyway. So it's okay that you don't remember me. I am getting back into fish keeping. In the upcoming months, and who knows, possibly even years, I would like to post some fish room build in progress videos, some DIY stuff, some fish videos, and I'd really appreciate it if you stuck around. You had faith in me 5, 6, 7 years ago, whenever the last time I posted was. See if I can justify it now. And for those of you who are just seeing me for the first time and you haven't actually subscribed yet, I consider just paying a little visit down to the subscribe button. After all, you can always leave later if you hate me. But what I'm working on today is actually getting my fish room back into some kind of an operating condition again. It's been a long time since I've actually had any fish in here. One of the things that I figured out as I was sort of thinking my way back into the hobby is I will stay with it longer and be a better fish keeper if I plan for success early. If I set things up in a way that really helps me shine in the best way possible. Alright, so what I'm getting set up here, you can kind of see on this quarantine tank, it doesn't have any fish in it yet, but I've got a classic DIY overflow design, just with a couple of tweaks that I sort of came up with myself. And that feeds into a drain system that'll drain any overflow water to my backyard. And I'm going to be sort of finishing that up, and I'll walk you through how it all works. I got a fair number of junk tanks, some of which need cleaning. But I've got three tanks on this shelf all plumbed into the same drain line. And then I need to get down to the shelf underneath and plumb in these 3 tanks. And then again, I've got a collection of small tanks, good for betas, grow out, whatever. The overflows, I'm sure you've already seen them and are familiar with them, but for those of you who maybe aren't, I'll just walk you through it real quick. The tank wall goes where my hand is right now, so it goes in between this U-bend and this one. This is the inside of the tank. When water overflows this part right here, which currently is too high, and I'm going to trim that down a little bit, it'll flow down into here. Then there's supposed to be a permanent siphon maintained in this U that actually goes over the side of the tank. Then on the back side, as the siphon level overflows right here, it'll drain back out again. I hope that makes sense. I'll link you to some videos that do a much better job of explaining this than I just did. The main thing that I've done that I don't usually see people do is I've got a T-fitting on the top of it. And the reason why I put that there is because the tank wall actually kind of supports this branch of the T-fitting, and that supports it so it doesn't want to rock, right? It stays really sturdy and stable on the tank that way. And then as I get the siphon filled, you notice that I don't have the classic airline going in here with a check valve. I actually have a different way of starting the siphon. I'll do a demonstration at some point as I get more of my tanks filled up, but it's a nifty little thing, and it lets me basically skip doing the whole airline fitting right here, because I didn't really want to mess with that, to be honest with you. The last thing that I need on this actually is a hose bob. The end of this it's got a threaded, what is it, FPT I think is what it's called, female pipe thread. So I do finger tight, and then I grab just a good old handy wrench and tighten that up the rest of the way. And since there's no real pressure coming through these pipes, it's all really just a trickle of water at a time. I haven't really had an issue with any leakage, thankfully. I just get it nice and solidly tight. This is all just standard PVC. Painted it with Cryoline Fusion spray paint. It does a pretty good job of holding up underwater. There. Now, a 1/2 inch internal diameter hose right here, and Bob's your uncle. So let's see. Just hook it over the side there. And I've got a hose kind of already attached to the drain system, just to keep all the water in the drain system as I do water changes on the upstairs, the upper shelf. I know I've got a knife around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Let me adjust this so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. That's a little better. So this is kind of locked into like I can't really move this system anywhere else. It's pretty much gonna have to stay right here. So I lose some flexibility with this, but I don't really care all that much. Let's see. And I've got somewhere around here. Hang on, I gotta find my T-barbs. Oh. Ah. Here they are. They're closer by than I was afraid. Alright, go ahead and get one of these little babies put on. Any leakage that I ever see from this is going to be really minimal. I don't expect to actually have any issues with leakage whatsoever from these joints. Sometimes it does help to get barbs in if you use a little heat. You don't necessarily need a heat gun, but even just like a hairdryer on the polyvinyl hose can do wonders for it. And it kind of depends on what brand you get. These are actually the Home Depot barbs. Well, I got them at Home Depot. I don't know if Everbelt is actually a Home Depot brand or not. I'm not all that up on it, but they go into 1/2 inch internal diameter hose really easily. It's really not an issue. I got some others from Ace Hardware that I really had a hard time using, so I switched back to the Home Depot. And then these clamps, hose clamps, appear to be a 5/16 head on them. Oh, did not get that in the right place actually. This is what happens when I try to record and think at the same time. It doesn't typically end well. There we go. It's not all the way tight. I'll tighten it up by hand because I don't want to crush any plastic parts. I don't even know if that's something that would happen. Alright, so now let's see, let's figure out exactly how long this needs to be. I'm going to keep this more or less level. It'd be nice if I had a slight downslope heading that direction toward the drain pipe. So let's say I'll cut it right here. You can tell I'm very scientific with all this. It's good knife safety too, and I never have accidents. No, sir. That was actually a nail head rather than a knife that did that to me, though. So you know. All right, need a couple of hose clamps. Turns out you can buy them in bulk a heck of a lot cheaper than you can get them individually. With the downside being, if you don't pay careful attention to what size you're getting, you end up with ridiculously large. Oh, this is a new pack. That's why it's not open. Okay. I'm all about saving money, but I wish I hadn't gotten them quite so oversized. I should have really paid more attention there. But there again, that's where your power driver comes in handy. There, much smaller. Could be smaller yet. So can I slip that over? The reason why I keep flipping it over and over is I'm trying to think, okay, when I do maintenance on this, when I have to take it off to replace it, what angle am I going to be working at? And where will I most easily be able to reach the head of that thing? So I've lived myself for a long dang time, and I know to plan for failure. Come on. I think my battery's dead. Oh well, that sucks. You didn't want to watch me do the whole system anyway, did you? And I'm gonna tighten this one up. I'm not gonna actually tighten this up. I'm just gonna wedge it in place a little bit. And the reason for that is, as you can see, these tanks need to be cleaned. And it's gonna be a lot easier if I can pop this off. So again, right, I'm planning ahead. I'm thinking like, how am I gonna screw myself up if I actually finish this job today? The answer to that question is I do not want to have to put a whole lot of effort into redoing these connections right here later. As I was pointing out earlier, I've got 3 tanks up here on a single drain, and I'll have the same situation going on downstairs. This all leads into this pipe right here. Ignore the airline tangle, that'll straighten that up some other time. And this runs well above the top shelf of tanks, so that any water backup or anything like that will not overflow the top of this pipe. And it's open here partly to prevent any siphons getting started accidentally if I'm draining more water than I really expect to down the length of the standpipe. Alright, that comes on down to my very dirty floor, where it kind of does a little dodge around the frame post, shelf frame, and out. It's right about there. I have a towel under this because it was leaking. I tightened up the hose clamp a little bit, and I don't think the leak is still there, but you know, I'll worry about checking it later. And eventually out the wall, and you're like, dude, you drilled a hole in your freaking wall for this? No, actually I didn't. This hole was pre-existing. It's where our heat pump drains out its condensation. Not ideal, but The hole was already there. The original builder had drilled it way too large, so it's pretty easy actually to fit this extra 1/2 inch polyvinyl hose through there. The idea is that when I do a water change, I've got a holding tank up there that I can fill with preheated, pre-treated water, or technically fill it and then preheat and pre-treat while it's up there, and then trickle it down through air lines into the 6 main tanks on the shelf unit. As you can tell, it's a mess in here, but you know, it is what it is. Someday this room is going to look fantastic. Right now it looks like trash. But as it trickles in, it'll overflow into the drain line. So that's the plan. I obviously have a lot more work to do. I've got to get all this cleaned up, set up, filled with livestock. Yeah. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Georgia humidity right there. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I know I've probably been rambling quite a bit. Hopefully I got adventurous in editing and cleaned that up a little bit. But I would love to see you back for future videos. I think we're gonna make some good things happen and better things to come. So stay tuned, guys. Thank y'all. Bye-bye.